Welcome to the Ignite Podcast, where we introduce thought leaders and subject matter experts that you'll want to consider for your next corporate event. Now, here's your host, Dennis Warden.
Well, welcome to the Ignite Podcast, and it's our pleasure to have as our guest on this podcast one of our favorite speakers from the Ignite Advisory Group, and that's Jen du Plessis. And Jen, welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today.
Well, likewise. And I've had the opportunity to hear you speak several times. And one thing I can say about you, Jen, is you bring excitement, enthusiasm, and realness to the platform. And I've always enjoyed that when I've sat in the audience and had a chance to listen to your delivery, your content, and then begin to apply some of back, and especially as we start talking about networking and that, how I can apply that back into my own business and my own personal life. So we're going to get some action going here. We're going to talk a little bit about what you're doing, and what I would love to hear from you is what got you to where you are today. Was there an event? Was there a challenge you came up against? I know you spent a number of years in the mortgage industry, but I would just love to hear a little bit of background on what got Jen to where she is today.
Well, thank you so much for asking. I am very excited about, being here. I'm blessed to have been in the mortgage business, for 35 years before I transitioned a couple of years ago into full-time speaking and coaching and podcasting, all of that. And, what really has brought me to this point is just my fortitude to be the best that I can be. And that really stems from my childhood, and I think we all have a story to tell. And I don't know that I want to go into the story, all of that today, but I'll save that for other opportunities. But I think, we all have triggers that now become, who we are and what happens in our lives. And for many, many years, I was always proving, and I wanted to start living, right? And especially in the mortgage business, for anyone who knows what that's all about, it's filled with a lot of chaos, a lot of turmoil, a lot of stress and overwhelm. A lot of things aren't in your control. And as a result of that, I was not living my legacy. I was trying to build a legacy, but I wanted to start living my legacy at the same time. And so I made a huge pivot in my business to take care of me first instead of my business. And that was really the catalyst, for me. I had several things that happened to me along the way as well, that said, enough is enough.
Right. So when you go and have the opportunity to speak before a group, and I've been in a mortgage group where you've spoken there. I've been in a kind of a public setting with a variety of different business people there. How do you help them take these challenges and begin living life, not just on purpose, but with real fulfillment? Because you've got business owners, and then you've got in the audience also those that are either employees or 1094 or you name it. So
the 1099s and stuff.
1099. Yep.
Yeah. The salespeople and everything. Really what I like to focus on, Dennis, is making sure that people aren't chasing the money, right? We all want to make money. We want to be successful. And there's varying degrees of that. We have people that don't want to make a ton of money. They just want to make enough to be happy, right? But regardless of that, even when you're trying to do a little bit, we all act like cats on marble floors in oil all the time, right? We're just chasing everything. And, to a certain extent, one of the things that I really like about, and I hate saying this, but what I really like about where we're at right now with this pandemic is that it's forced us to slow down, which is one of the things I say all the time, is to slow down so you can speed up instead of speeding up to slow down. And this has forced us to slow down. And so now we're sitting back and we're reanalyzing everything in our lives, right? And So I think that this is what I speak on all the time, is a lifestyle business mastery, is becoming the master of your priorities and values so that you can master your life. And when you can and heighten the awareness of what fulfills you first, and it takes some time to do that, because you have to sit back and say, what does make me happy?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure we've all been out to dinner with a bunch of friends and said, we should do this more often. And then nothing happens.
Right.
And
Right.
that's an example of what fulfills you, right? So it's all those things that make you happy. And so I really focus on what makes me happy, what is aligned with my core values, so that I can get in, work hard, and get out and go do what I absolutely love to do. And there's no way that you can own 4 businesses. And I'm just somebody out in the big world. I know people that own hundreds of businesses. They own a lot of businesses, but owning 4 businesses and being able to get everything done, you have to be laser focused and intentional. But it all stems from what makes you happy, and let's build that first, and then build the business around it, rather than building that business, living with it, being prisoner to it, and trying to fit you in.
Right. So let me ask you, are there, how do you build in margin, or how do you put uh, uh, borders on, so you have me time
Yeah, the
and
boundaries.
focused business time?
Yeah. Yeah. The boundaries. Well, again, it comes back to, the whole premise of my practice is that a life of values adds value everywhere in your life. So it will add value to your health, to your relationships, to your bank account, right? To your business. It will add value everywhere. And we really have to step back and say, what are my core values?
Mm,
Aside from a fulfillment, right? What makes me happy? Well, what are my core values? Because when you have your values in the front of every decision you're making in your business, you can be more decisive. Your decisions are better. And it sometimes means saying no to clients and saying yes to you and your family, right? And so aligning those. So, for example, if family is one of your core values, then I would say, why are you working till 11 o'clock at night? That's
mm-hmm.
the boundary
Mm-hmm.
you have to
Mm-hmm.
put in there, is to say, you know what, my family's more important than this one client. So client, unfortunately, I can't meet with you tonight at 6, but I work late on another night. Would that work for you? Right. We just don't do that in sales and as entrepreneurs. We're so consumed with the customer experience that we're not even getting a good experience from it. And I'm not saying that you don't do good customer experience, because that's one of the major things, one of the
Mm,
5 things that I focus on.
mm.
But we have to get our priorities in straight and put those boundaries on, so that we can relax a little, step back and enjoy life. And then when we get to work, we'll be laser focused, as long as our business is also aligned with, what we're trying to accomplish in our
Great.
lives.
So how do I take that? And that's a great message, and it's one that we need to apply. I need to apply, and because I've got 3 businesses going, and there's everything that's going, and then you've got, in my case, you got family, and then that family's growing to grandkids. I mean, it's like
Yeah,
crazy
me too.
busy. It's crazy
Yeah,
busy,
yeah,
but
yeah, me too.
but at the same time, we got to that focus. So I'm a business
Mhm.
owner. I'm an event planner. I'm looking at, what kind of a speaker am I going to bring in? And you have a unique message
Mhm.
that needs to be heard, but um, it's one that maybe it's maybe not noticed. It's maybe something that it's it's not it's not seen as the pressing need, but we
Right.
know that behind it, it really, if these things were taken care of, uh, activities would be better, results would be stronger.
Yes.
So I'm just curious on, how,
Yeah.
as we talk to, and as you talk with somebody about coming to, speak with them.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I totally get what you're saying, and it's just the realization of it, so I'll tell a quick story. I was supposedly at dinner with my family one night at a restaurant,
Hmm.
right? And the phone rang, and of course it was a client. And what do? We pick up our phone and say, oh, I got to take this real quick. It'll just be a minute. right? And how many minutes do we have that we've done that, right?
Right.
And as I was standing outside and I'm walking back and forth on what I call the concrete balance beam, right? Where we've kind of walked back and forth, we kick the tires and we're walking back and forth. And as people are coming in the restaurant, we're kind of nodding at them as we're talking to our client, and I happened to glance over into the through the window of the restaurant, and I noticed that my family was laughing and having so much fun and creating all these beautiful memories, but I wasn't in them, right? And that was one of the tipping points for me that said, I am a prisoner to my business. It has complete control over me, and can I do this another 20, 30 years, right?
Right.
And that's the problem we have. We're not seeing that on a daily basis. So what I had to do was I had to structure and figure out, how do I accomplish the same, if not more, in my business by trimming back on the time that I spend in my business, right? And in order to do that, right, because I wanted to have all these wonderful activities. And of course, we all know this, whenever we go on vacation, we get very laser focused, and then all this business comes in because we're hurrying. And then we say, gosh, I don't even know if I can go on vacation because I'm so busy.
Right. Yeah.
And then we go on a guilty vacation because we're worried about everything when we come back, right? But the thought here is, what if we could go on vacation in our minds, go on vacation every day, go in, be absolutely sure about what we need to be doing, be very effective, very, very efficient, attract clients instead of detract them, right? Or attacking them, because that's what wastes our time. We don't have clarity in our business. So we just go in and we just do as much as we can. And the faster we do it, the worse it gets. And so imagine going into your office and doing exactly what you need to do to move the needle on your office, only to be able to leave and go on vacation, in air quotes, go on vacation every single day and do what you love to do. So for example, I am a competitive ballroom Latin and swing dancer. It's just one of the things that I do. But I'm at the studio, sans the pandemic, I'm at the studio, 2 to 3 hours a night. And you can't do that if you don't have absolute clarity of several different things, which we can go over as well, and what those are. Because it's get in, do your work,
Right.
get out, enjoy your life.
Right. Right. So you, besides being a public speaker, do a lot of coaching.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the coaching business. What's that look like, and what kind of coaching clients do you look for or come to you?
Yeah. The people that I work with are overwhelmed, stressed, dealing with chaos. Their business owns them. And a lot of times they just don't have clarity of their message. They're scrambling to get business in. And I just want to calm everything down and say, you know what, if we just focus on 5 areas of your business and we attract clients, it will save us time, allowing you to go be happier, right? I mean, that's the bottom line. So you can be happier. So putting more hours into your work is not the answer. It's putting smart hours into your work. So we focus on 5 different areas. The first is clarity of your message, making sure that it's very clear, making sure that it aligns with your core values, because if you're selling everything to everyone, you're selling nothing to no one. So we get clarity of your message so that you can attract clients rather than chase everybody. 2 is that we work on your credibility. Where does that lie? Are you the master of your trade? Are you the influencer? Are you the number one person that they say to go, when someone thinks of your line of work that someone goes to? Then we work on your community. Are you nurturing or neglecting your community right now? Because we know that within your community, 67% of this year's business can come from your community. You just have to go to it. And there's a book called Acres of Diamonds. It's that we're sitting on acres of diamonds, but we have this propensity to go, I need more. And so that's where that scrambling comes. And yes, you need more clients, but you don't always need to be having more clients and not working with the ones you already have.
Right.
So how do we repurpose our clients? How do we nurture those relationships? And by doing that, we're attracting more people, and it's less time.
Mm-hmm.
Then we move into communication. So what is your client experience like, right? Is this an experience that compels people to refer to you, so that you have this revolving door of referrals, so that you don't have to chase? You can be attracting people, again, saving you more time. And is it prepared in a way that is scalable, right? So that the experience is there. And then the last is continuity. Do you do this consistently? You can't lose weight eating horribly all week and then eating good one day. And you can't lose weight eating well all week and then having a binge on one day as well.
Right.
So is it consistent? And do you have accountability and a mentor to guide you? Because it's so much easier to be guided by a mentor, and your results are faster than trying to do it on your own. And so that continuity is really the priority management, the time management that I really dig into to create time blocks and margin, right? Margin. And what are we going to do in those time blocks so that it's moving our business forward? So it gets very tactical. It goes from mindset to very tactical, with the overall thought here is, what I'm doing isn't working.
Right.
It just isn't. So help me out, Jen. Help me out. Make it work.
Right.
And the thing is, when I had that moment, when I look back on that moment, several years later, my husband and I took a month's vacation in Europe, and we were sitting in Barcelona, and I happened to look over at him, and I thought, gosh, how blessed am I? Because here I am a month in Europe, and my business is running without me. And that's okay. Right. That feels good. In fact, it exploded when I backed off and did things differently.
Yeah. Without knowing it, in some ways, you were the lid on the business.
Oh, absolutely. And I always say it's a little chip on our shoulder that we walk around with, saying, they want me, I have to do everything. No. And the way we do things can change things just as much as it is about growing a team to help you. The way we're doing it is not effective. Yeah.
So we've been talking with Jen about coaching, and so where can they go? What's the website? What's the link for one of our listeners to find out more about your coaching?
Yeah. Well, the best thing to do is to go to kineticsparkconsulting.com. But if someone, if something I have said has resonated with someone and they say, Jen, I want to have a conversation, I want to learn more about it, the best thing to do is to text the word strategy to 66866, and they will, you can get a strategy session with me, and we can kind of talk about whether or not, this is a good fit for both of us, right? Because we want to make sure you're successful. And then, of course, my book, you can get a free ebook of Launch: How to Take Your Business to New Heights, and you can get that at jenduplessis.com/launch.
Great.
Happy to provide that to you as well. And then I just wanted to tell you also is that I am launching a new podcast, and it should be launched maybe by the time this is out. We'll see. It's being launched on May 11th, next Monday. And it is called Success to Significance: Life After Breaking Through Glass Ceilings.
Great. Well, we definitely will put a link on our site and along with this podcast to let other people learn about it, find out about it. And so let me go. The text was text stress to
strategy.
Strategy. Who's under stress?
If you're stressed, you need to text strategy.
Strategy.
Right?
Text strategy to
66866.
66866.
Yes,
strategy.
and that'll link you to my Calendly to schedule a strategy session. Yeah.
That is great. Don't you just love technology?
Oh, I love it.
Most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah. So let's kind of refocus back a little bit, because we at Ignite Advisory Group, as I've mentioned, are just are thrilled to represent you as one of our speakers, and it's even I guess it's even better when you've had an opportunity to get to know somebody and spend time with them, and as I did even with you and your husband here in Atlanta. And So again, let's just talk about the whole aspect of Jen Plessis coming in to speak.
Mhm.
We've been through this pandemic. We've
Yeah.
had all this stuff going on. We've learned to have to do business from home. We've had to use technology in ways, we've never had to. A lot of Zoom meetings, so, and that's, in some ways that's been good because, we've actually found out our relationships have grown with others
Mhm.
versus, just passing in the hall.
Yeah.
So taking where we're at today and all that we've been through, what would be something new or kind of your new thoughts, your new message as you go back into, as things open back up again for speaking and that?
Yeah, we are, I mean, I definitely have had to pivot as well. As we were talking about before we came on here, is that, because I speak 2 to 3 weeks out of the month. I'm
Mm-hmm.
on the road speaking, and, all of the rest of the things that I wanted to do were put by the wayside, right? And so now I've utilized that. In fact, during this time, and I know that you, represent Hal Allred
Mm-hmm.
as well. And, so I've really put back savers into my life, right? His concept of savers, and a daily routine to get make sure that my head's on straight every day. I also instituted the 12-week year. As soon as this happened, I said, you know what, if we're going to be homebound for 8 weeks, which in the Commonwealth of Virginia, we're homebound until June 10th. So I knew that I had time. I immediately accelerated my business and said, you know what, I've got 12 weeks to pretend like this is a year. And I have accelerated my business in 8 weeks by 8 months.
Hmm.
So during this time, our choice is that we can, procrastinate, or we can prepare for what's on the other side. And so what I'm telling all my clients right now is that we need to be preparing with these relationships. We need to be stepping back. In fact, I have 7 strategies to reset your mind in your business, right? And one of them is, and by the way, you can get that at jenduplessis.com/7 strategies. And it's a way for us to sit back and say, okay, who is our circle of influence? What are our boundaries? What do we want for our business? And maybe recalibrate our business plans moving forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's one of the things that I'm telling everyone to do right now. So when we get on the backside of this, my message is going to be the same that it's always been. It's just more potent now because we had time to stop and think, to stop talking, to take action so we can get our results, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that will still be the message for me because these principles are very a foundation. The 5 strategies that I just spoke about, I started almost 15 years ago, and they have I've been personally through 7 downturns, market downturns, for a
Mm.
variety of things that have happened, right? And in each one of these, on the backside, there are so much opportunity. We just have to be planting the seeds right now.
Right.
I imagine that there will be a handful of people that have planted the seeds and that will be doing wonderfully. And there'll be a handful that sat back and they succumbed to this.
Right.
Um, one of the things that I always say is that your boat won't sink if you don't let what's on the outside get in, right? So if you don't let what's on the
Right.
outside get in,
Right.
it won't
Right.
sink. So we have to look above and beyond that to ensure that we've got this pass. So these strategies that I'm talking about in the context of when I speak on stage about them are all about cracking the top producer code. It's all about, how do I crack that code? How do I not lose sleep at night wondering, what am I doing wrong? All of these tactics are for you to be able to crack the code. And on the backside of the pandemic, it's going to be the same story. The tactics might change a little bit because I don't think that we're going to have as many in-person events because people have experienced the
Right.
opportunity to not have to fly and travel and incur all
Mm-hmm.
that other cost. So there'll be a shift, but it's the principles are still there. The tactics change.
Right, right. So you're in the process of squeezing 12 months into 12 weeks.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
so what are you,
Yeah.
so I know you haven't, maybe you have, but because typically we go into a year and we say we want to grow personally, we want to read this. Is there a book that you've been reading? I know you mentioned Hal Elrod, and
Yeah.
that. Where is Jen going to for just continued personal and professional growth?
Yeah, I'm really connecting with people. What I'm doing is I'm doing more connections with people in the joint venture and affiliate space, to really create more bird dogging. And that's what I've done anyway. That's one of the pieces of what we do in the community is, and this because I'm really big on relationships,
Right.
and making sure that that follow through is happening. So I am seriously just recalibrating my circle of influence. And, if people aren't calling me and seeing how I'm doing, I'm really measuring that relationship. Is that really a
Right.
relationship if they aren't caring?
Right.
And that's that nurturing and neglecting. I'm also looking at who complicates and who complements my business and reassessing that too. Because so many times when we move 100 miles an hour, we have all these people that complicate us, but we don't have the bandwidth to go back and say, this isn't working.
Right.
This isn't working. Now we have that. And so I'm trying to simplify my business so that I work with people I love. And when that happens, it means that I'm more likely to reach out, right, to them. And so I'm spending a lot of time having, Corona cocktail nights, right? Corona cocktail hours and things like that. And for me, I'm right now just recalibrating everything I possibly can to ensure that on the backside, I am ready to go. I've hired 5 people now on my team during this period of time. When everyone else is contracting, I'm expanding.
Right.
And so this is, what I'm going to continue to share with people out in the marketplace, because there will be people that don't, expand during this time, that contract, and they're going to need to reset themselves, going forward. And I'm totally excited about it.
Well, and
So
that's
that's
kind
what
of
I'm doing for myself personally. I'm doing some reading. I'm spiritually, slowing down, doing a lot of more spiritual reading. That's very important to me. It's one of my core values, right? And so I'm recalibrating that. I'm, establishing new rhythms and things to make myself better and surround myself with people that are leaders and influencers. And I'm taking that role as well.
That's great. And I had mentioned earlier about the enthusiasm and the excitement that you bring to the platform. And for those that are watching this podcast on YouTube, you can see that excitement and that warmth and everything in Jen as she shares. But so first off, I would again mention go to igniteadvisorygroup.com, learn more about Jen, and you can even click a button there and find out more about booking her to come in either in person, or we'll put together some sort of an online online presentation. But let me ask you, excuse me, Jen. Let me ask you, you get on the plane, you leave your husband, you leave the beautiful home, you fly to Atlanta, you fly Denver, anywhere you fly, and you deliver your message, and you come down from the platform, you build your relationships, but ultimately you get on the plane and you fly back home, right? When you reflect back on that event, what made it special? What was important to you that the audience got?
Yeah. And this is a double-edged sword kind of question, because sometimes you walk off stage and you have the opportunity to speak with people, and sometimes you walk off stage and you don't.
Right.
And so I'm always hoping that, and I, because I am faith-based, I'm always hoping that, right before I go on stage, I ask the Holy Spirit to give me the words, right, to impact somebody impact someone, that I can change their life. And I may not even know that. And I'm so blessed because those opportunities, when I do come off stage, people will come up and they're crying because they're saying, that happened to me and I've got to get out of this. And you're going to be the person that can help me do that. Or they're coming to me and saying, you're exactly what I needed, because I typically deliver some mindset to, and some heartfelt stories. I'm a big storyteller and I love telling stories, but I also deliver the how-to, the tactical, like gimme something I can put in play right now. And I'm all about taking the action and stop talking about it. Right. So it appeals to both sides of the audience. So, again, when I come off, it is just so exciting. And I think, gosh, yes, that is what happened. I touched somebody that I'm going to make the difference in their lives. And I've had people come up to me and say, oh my gosh, I've been listening to your podcast forever. I've been following you, whatever the case may be. And just this one tactic that you shared a year and a half ago, 5 years ago, changed my life, changed my business. And even talking about it gives me goosebumps, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because that's what I'm trying to do, is I'm trying to give people the answers that they've been searching for. I'm trying to help them not lose sleep at night and be able to say that, look, I have this proof. I've been there. I have been in your shoes, and I have a proven system that's so simple if you just put it into play. And I'm here to help you get it into play. But it requires discipline. And the great Les Brown says this, and I've been fortunate enough to speak with Les Brown, and I'm now touring with Les Brown Jr. And he says, if you're casual about your business will be a casualty. If you're casual about your life will be a casualty, right? And so we have to put that discipline in to create new habits. And once they're created, they're second nature, and it's super easy. And you wake up smiling every day because you know that your business is going to move forward, and you're still going to have time for your grandkids or your spouse or whatever it is you want to do.
That is so good. Such a great message. Before we wrap up, is there anything that I should have asked? Is there anything that you said, I wish that Dennis would have asked this one question? Is there anything that we may have left out in just giving a kind of a brief look into your world and you as just an incredible speaker?
I don't think so. I don't think there's anything you didn't ask. I bring a lot of fun, fun stories. Everybody's going to laugh. They're going to learn something. They're going to walk away with something, tangible. I'm very supportive of my stages, and the people that are bringing me in, and I'm somebody you can count on. I mean, I hold myself accountable for everything, just like I do in everything that I do. And, if that's what you're looking for someone to come in and really have a very poignant message, but then have deliverables behind it, then I'm your girl.
You are awesome. And thank you so much for, number one, for allowing Matt and I and our team to represent you as a speaker and as a coach. And then for this time that you've shared with us on the Ignite podcast. So thank you so much, Jen.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.